very special guest joining us. Some of you probably noticed on your seat at the table you've got this beautifully packaged, cute little hot cocoa. So maybe some of you haven't tried it before, and probably a lot of you have. After tonight, I promise you, you're not going to go back to Swiss Miss. Like, it's out the window. So I want to welcome to the stage tonight Amanda. She's the co-owner of Mike and Jen's Hot Cocoa.
Hello, thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's an honor to be asked to come speak to such a wonderful group here tonight. Although it is a challenge when I'm told I only have 10 minutes, because as my friends will tell you, it's difficult for me to leave a voicemail in under 10 minutes, but I'm going to do my best to keep everyone on track. So typically when I'm speaking to a large group, I'm either teaching about a specific subject or I'm talking about one of my businesses. But I'm going to take the opportunity tonight to do something really kind of fun and unique for me, and I'm going to tell you about my personal journey and kind of how my life brought me to where now I am a co-owner of a hot cocoa company. So my story starts when I was in the meteorology program at St. Cloud State University. Who's going to guess that one, right? I actually graduated as the only female in my class back in 2004. I then was hired on at the National Weather Service office here in Duluth. I became the first female forecaster at that office. So the Weather Service in Duluth was one of the first 5 original weather offices when the Weather Bureau was established in 1875. So if you're doing the math in your head, it was nearly 130 years before the Duluth Weather Office hired their first female forecaster. So fast forward a few years into my career, and I was selected to be part of the program to become a fire weather meteorologist. And what this entailed is I would go and take classes through the U.S. Forest Service and learn everything I could learn about wildfires. And I would go on scene, I'd go to as many prescribed control burns as I could. It took about 3 years to complete this program, and the idea is they would then combine your knowledge, my knowledge of the weather, and now I have knowledge of wildfires, and I became one of about 20 people in the country who is a so-called fire weather expert. So what this entailed is then during the fire season, anytime there was a really large fire, I would get a call that you've been requested to go to this fire, typically out west. And within 24 hours, I would be on a flight or a few flights, and then in a rental car driving for a few hours by myself to the middle of nowhere of Idaho, Oregon, Washington, California. So I did this for about 8 years, where I would spend my summers going from wildfire to wildfire, literally living and breathing this fire, providing on-site weather support, really helping the fire operations kind of plan of how's this fire going to behave, where's it going to go. The goal is to keep everyone safe. Weather surprises and wildfires is what leads to fatalities. So my summers were spent doing fire, and then I would come back to Duluth in the winter, backwards, and I would then spend my winters working in Duluth at my normal job at the National Weather Service. And over time, 2 things became apparent. One was that I loved fire. Fire was my passion. And I loved the environment. It was incredibly stressful job, but it was very, very rewarding. And then when I would come back to Duluth, it was kind of culture shock to now I'm back at my normal job, and I'm sitting at a desk for 9 to 12 hours a day, working rotating shifts, looking at 5 computer screens, not talking to a single person. And I really wasn't cut out to be a desk person. The second thing I learned was that over the years, I was gaining a lot of experience and knowledge in fire behavior, and I was becoming one of the more knowledgeable people in the world. This program is very demanding, and so only a few people ever kind of complete the program to become a fire meteorologist, and even fewer really last more than a year or 2. There's not a whole lot of families and spouses who are overly eager for you to be in a job where you can just get a call and leave for weeks on end without any notice. So as I was kind of recognizing that I had this unique skill set, I decided to do something that had never been done before. And I quit my job of 15 years at the Weather Service, and I decided to go independent and start my own company and do my own thing with just fire weather. And if anyone's ever kind of branched out on your own, you might have run into as well the naysayers. Well, you can't do that. That's never been done before. I was threatened. Even the manager of our program in the Weather Service sent out an email to all the other fire weather forecasters and told them specifically not to work with me because I had gone rogue. So I take that as a compliment. Little did he, these are all my friends, so of course it came back. So fast forward 5 years, I'm happy to say my company's going strong. I've been to Australia, Portugal. I was planning to go to South Africa until COVID put a kibosh on that. I still work for the U.S. Forest Service as an independent fire weather forecaster. I work for the state DNR doing mostly teaching classes, some fire. As recent as the Greenwood Lake fire last summer, I was doing support for them. I also found a niche in the public sector. I do consulting work for a wildfire software company out west. This month is my 5-year anniversary. I've been on the Hermantown Volunteer Fire Department. I also joined the Minnesota DNR as an actual firefighter. So when I told you my passion was fire, I meant it. So anyway, you might be saying, well, it says you're with Mike and Jen's Hot Cocoa. How did this happen? If you've ever read those books, where the first chapter of the book is from one character's perspective, right? And then the second chapter is like the same time frame, but then from the second character's perspective. Okay, this is chapter 2. All right, chapter 2 starts with 10 years ago in 2012. Yes, 2012 was 10 years ago. And I was kind of in the height of my career at the Weather Service. I'm doing my fire thing. And I'm lucky enough to be working with my best friend, Dean Packingham. And at this time, he decided he would start this little hobby with his kids of making hot cocoa in their kitchen. And Dean is a self-proclaimed OCD. He ordered over 60 cocoa powders from around the world and spent the better part of a year being a mad scientist in his kitchen with his kids, coming up with the perfect formula for their family hot cocoa mix, which was then named Mike and Jen's Hot Cocoa. Oh, it's all coming together. So then, over the next few years, I had the privilege of watching my best friend kind of grow this small family hobby into a business. By 2016, I've just left the Weather Service to do my own thing, and I'm with Dean, and he's reached that point of a small business where he's literally up to his eyeballs in hot cocoa. And the kids are teenagers now, so it's really just him. He's working full-time at the National Weather Service still, the rotating shifts. And, you know, we're kind of talking about his options in the future of this business. And I say, well, how much does it cost you to make a bag of your hot cocoa? And he says, I have no idea. And I said, okay, well, how much did you sell last year? No clue. So I said, okay, well, you know, like, let's get your business in order here. I'd love to help you out. I'm the numbers spreadsheet person. And he goes, oh my gosh, that would be great. Thank you. Let me go get you my paperwork. And he literally comes out of a room with a box. And it's not filed. Like, we're not talking a file box. It's a box just of paperwork. And he says, here's my business. Right? We all have that, friend. So I said, okay. So we go through everything. And fast forwarding, I say to him, well, here's a plan. What if we go into business together for 1 year? And we just see where it goes. Let's see what we can do with this business for a year. So together, we established an actual LLC and became partners of the business. And for 1 year, just had a blast running this business. We learned that we're complete opposite people, and that's what makes great business partners. And fast forwarding, he then decided after the year he's going to quit his job at the National Weather Service after 25 years to run this hot cocoa company. Now, if you think there are naysayers, if you're going to leave your career to do your own fire business, try telling your coworkers and family you're going to leave your career to go sell hot cocoa. And people did not hold back. They will tell you to your face, this is a very terrible idea. Who's gonna buy hot cocoa? This is not a real job. Are you having a midlife crisis? And fast forwarding to today, when I took over, when I took over with Dean and we started the business, Mike and Jen's Hot Cocoa was sold in 10 stores in Duluth. So that's kind of what we started with. As of right now, we are sold in over 1,000 stores across the upper Midwest. We're in all Hy-Vee stores, Meijer stores, all the Coburns. We're in 45 different stores just in Duluth, and they all sell it quite well. Last fall, we got into Costco Duluth as a test store. We drastically went by all of their sales expectations. We became one of the top 10 foods of Costco, not just beverages, like all foods. This fall, we'll be in all Minnesota Costcos. I think there's 13 Costcos in Minnesota. Mike and Jen are now in college, but it is still a two-person business of Dean and myself, and we're on track to sell about 120,000 pounds of hot cocoa this year. So in wrapping up my 10 minutes, I will leave you with the theme of Rosie the Riveter, and it is that the best part of having someone tell you you can't do something is not only doing it, but crushing it.